interesting to me.
It activates a weird system.
Yes.
We've had to rein you back from spurking out before we went live. Seraphis, just get on with it.
All right. So we basically have like two topics for this evening, and short version is that I'm going to bring this closer so I can lean back a bit. Short version is that we've got a oh, that's right, it was Clacton. Gotta remember, it's the other thing is Clacton.
Clacton-by-Sea,
yeah. God, fucking. So, anyway, but the other thing that I wanted to talk about tonight was because I am absolutely buzzing and geeking out because I am getting replacement solar system for my roof, which normally that doesn't sound like a big deal, but the long and short of it is that when we bought the place, we had a 3.3 kilowatt system already pre-installed in the house. However, by evaluation and over time, over the last 4 odd years that we've been here, it's been pretty obvious that the system was installed a decent 10 years ago, at least, because there's some 16 to 18 panels on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
In wintertime, we're getting about 1.4 kilowatts, 1.2 to 1.4 kilowatts, right? With the modern panels that are currently out, that should be generating somewhere between 6 and 8 kilowatts with 18 panels.
All right.
I am getting a system of 24 panels for over 10 kilowatts.
Nice.
Now, I'm going to put this into quick perspective for everyone. So this is 10 kilowatts an hour it is generating. Right?
Yeah.
According to my last bill, my average daily usage of energy with 2 computers, TV, stuff for kids, fridge, all that kind of modern stuff, right, was around 20 kilowatts per day. This entire new system should be generating over 46 kilowatts a day.
All right.
So it's covering the house needs for a 24-hour period. Sorry, I should reiterate. The solar generation, that's for winter time. So right now, we would be getting around 40 to 46 kilowatts an hour with the new system that we're going to be getting. So in summertime, when there's fuck all clouds, we're 6 minutes from the sun, there's a hole in the ozone layer.
Yeah.
And we're being absolutely irradiated by UV rays. The energy generation from those panels is probably going to fill up the battery in about 3 hours. So what we're doing is we're getting a 24 solar panels. Now, here's the interesting part. On the roof, they changed the layout so that it's going to be 16 panels on the front and then the other 7 or 8 on the back roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, it's only on a quarter of the back roof, which means there's space for an additional 8 to 12 panels that could be put up as well. So in the future, if I want to fully delve into being a virtual power plant, I have the ability to generate even more energy.
You're way too happy about this.
I am. I'm so happy about this.
You have achieved power independence.
Yes. So essentially, so this will all be done within 6 weeks.
Okay, that's pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, the government heavily incentivizes this. We've had a rolling industry for it for about sort of 18 odd years at least.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's pretty, they're pretty good at what they do basically, and various different people. The ones we're going with are kind of partnered with a very well-known parent company here in Australia, which may or may not be something everyone knows because of Bluey, but yeah. Damn that dog. But yeah, so the whole thing is awesome. So yeah, the system will have paid for itself in about 5 years, which means we'll be making, for the rest of the 10 years that the company that's installing it will be monitoring it for live services, keeping an eye on it in case there's any faults for quick replacements, things like that. The second half of that 5 years, we'll just be making money off of, we'll have earned our money back, basically.
Yeah.
Basically, right? They're then covered for another 20 years on their warranty. So if in about 10 years they've already paid for themselves, so basically, you know, it's about 15 grand in total for everything. So 5 years, 15 grand, 10 years, 30 grand. So in 20 years after that, what, about 60 grand worth of savings?
I mean, that's just going to compound up.
Yeah. And then, do you know what, Sax?
What's that?
And then there's the money I'll be earning from putting power into the grid.
No, yeah, of course, that makes sense.
Yeah. This is the point of the virtual power plant thing. So VPPs in Australia, we've overhauled our power grid about 10 odd, 15 odd years ago, right?
Yep.
So that power could be pushed back and forth through the grid. So, for example, we're already set up so that people who have excess power can use the same lines to push the power back into the grid to support the grid for everyone else.
Yeah.
This predominantly starts at the local level. So, you know, roughly 5 to 10 houses in my neighborhood would be supported by the power my house would be generating. And then the battery storage from that during the nighttime period, right?
Yeah.
Once my dreams come true and I'm able to upgrade the battery unit, that's a modular battery unit. So it uses a kind of universal battery component. Right now, they're lower level storage units, but you know, in a few years' time, I can upgrade them to higher capacity ones, same size and everything, and then I will be able to hold like 3 to 5 times more power, which they're currently 15 kilowatt capacity.
Right.
So basically, the battery unit would be able to power everything in the house on a normal day for about 16 hours. If we turned like all the primary things off and just have like, you know, the lights, the fridge to keep everything, you know, working.
Yeah.
then it would probably be able to last a couple of days. Because obviously, we're not running the computers and stuff, so a much lesser power draw on it. But regardless, yeah, you can see why it starts to get fun, right?
Yeah.
So the amount of money I'll be making per kilowatt is 8 cents. However, that's 8 cents per kilowatt when I'm generating right now, when I'd be generating into the system around 18 kilowatts.
Yeah.
On average. So yeah, there is so much fun stuff about this. It's just I'm basically going to be able to be making money off of spending just a ridiculous amount of money right now, and then just making it all back in a few years.
I mean, that's the whole point of like doing these sort of investments.
Yeah. And because I'm a hermit-like creature, I like to put down my roots and then just stick around. It's not like I'm going to be looking in a couple of years' time going, where do I want to move to next? It will just be, nope, here I am. I'm here. This is going to be a long-term thing. I'm going to be making money off of it. Yep.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's
awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I've got the dude come around tomorrow to make the assessment for the, I guess, building installation assessment. Like, what needs to be where, if there's any changes that need, how much installation will cost in the finalized quote and everything. But yeah, so very lucky, very happy, and I'm buzzing with.
No, honestly, that is honestly good to hear. It's the sort of thing that people kind of want. That like I mean, one, it's good for the general direction that we need to probably take the energy industry, and the fact that it saves you money. That's a huge incentive. So yeah, like it's just one of those things of like, yeah, I agree. I think I'm jealous. To put it in so many words, I think I am actually jealous.
I think what I like is that not only is it saving me money, it'll be making me money.
Yeah.
And that just makes me happy. Because, like, okay, this is going to sound weird, but like going from an industry going from like landscaping and security and like slowly going down until I kind of did a bit of accounting and then stopped. It's like now I can basically not worry necessarily about like, am I going to be able to have the time to do the kids' school run in the morning and pick them up in the afternoon? I'm getting paid. I'm getting money for just having a minor thing done to my roof.
You're getting passive income.
Yeah, it's
And
a
passive
weird
income.
feeling.
Passive income is like the most desirable thing. Like it's not, yes, there is like government incentives of like if you're a stay-at-home parent or any of these aspects, but that's not really the same. Like you are now earning money by basically acquiring energy from natural forms that you need to do zero work for, which then goes into the energy system and ultimately contributes to a to the community around you.
Yeah,
I don't see any negatives aside. Again, like you are having to drop a temporary small amount or a temporary large amount of money that you will earn back in 5 years' time. And overall, that's about the only negative.
Yeah.
The rest is just pure positives, both morally, ethically, and financially.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing that's really annoying me is that the panels, the inverter, the battery, they're all Chinese.
Yeah.
Because we lost our opportunity to become a solar generator producer back in the 2010s because we had a shit government. And now it's kind of funny. Just quick tangent before we go into the next thing, but it's kind of funny that those same people who were in that previous government who were like, oh no, we can take our time with this, we don't need to jump on it now, are now being like, no, the oil crisis isn't really that bad. People should continue using petrol. I don't know why you want to try and force everyone onto EVs. It's like, we're not forcing, we're just trying to give incentives for EVs. People can still buy petrol cars or diesel cars.
I mean, the UK tried to go that same route, but they've shot themselves in the foot. Not a surprise there. And there's a multitude of things that they've done where they've basically, I don't know how they did this. They basically went like, we want you to go and do this. Here's an incentive for it. And then they went, wait, we can either do this, which will be very good for the future, or hear me out. We can go behind the shed with a shotgun and shoot ourselves. So what they've done is they used to have incentives for you setting up an EV charger to basically promote to get the industry to get the infrastructure set up. That's been revoked. That's no longer there. They're no longer doing that. So that's now on a similar to what we had Gur speak about in terms of like you now have to make deals with the EV companies, and that usually defaults into like some form of like financial investment, and you are paying monthly charges, probably at indefinite time, because that's how we are now in the subscription dark era period. So that's what's happening. There used to be tax incentives, as in your taxes on your EV cars would be significantly lower because, well, you're not taking petroleum, you're not doing any form of pollution, you're just taking out energy of that. Well, that got backtracked because the government realized, oh, we actually earn a lot of money from taxing people and their cars. So we are now going to we're now going to go back, and you are still going to be taxed on your EV cars, even though we originally said that you wouldn't, to incentivize you to go and get them. We can't uphold that anymore. It's baffling.
Yeah,
it's genuinely baffling.
Isn't London one of those like really like tight, congestive cities as well? Where
it is.
CO2 emissions is a problem.
It is really like, and they have, yes, and there is really high like taxes and charges if you want to own a car within London. Like they're actually really extortionate for you to do that, and yet they still have them. They've now also introduced, like in Bath, which is the closest city, or Bristol, which is another close city that I live nearby, where they say, hey, if you come into our city and your car is outside of like this range, like I think it's like going back to like the 2014, 2015 sort of period of like how old your cars could be, you will be charged for entering and causing basically pollution by bringing in a petrol or gas car for that, unless you have an updated car. So they're incentivizing removing the old cars, forcing people into new cars. And by the way, new cars these days, most of them are saying like, we don't want you to own the car. We would very much like you to financially pay a subscription. And then at the end of that, we don't let you can buy the car, but that'll be at a cost of like tens of thousands of pounds. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, now it's a commitment to like have a long term, which realistically, that's not money that most people are sitting with at disposable cash. You can go to the secondhand market, get a trashy car, hope that they will last with some duct tape and WD-40, and then make use of the park and ride sites, which is where you park your car, you pay for it to stay there, and then a part of that is that you get a ticket with a more environmentally friendly bus that will take you into where you need to go.
Jesus.
Oh no, he's not saving us on this one.
Like, not to take a really bad, terrible stab at the UK's government, but
Oh,
you
please
know when it, you know what a really bad look would be is if even Top Gear had articles on how well the improvements to EVs from massive loaders to sports cars have gotten.
Yeah.
Saying, you know, these aren't the hippie cars anymore. These things actually have some roar to them, and electric means you can bypass that fuel, just rev it up. Promoting it to people who would otherwise normally be the ones to be against it. And they've already been doing that for years.
Yeah. I mean, I know when they originally had like EV cars on, that was when Tesla or Elon Musk was doing his whole Tesla thing. You know, they didn't really like it back then because it wasn't up to like what they wanted. But between then and now, like you said, we've even seen the concept of lorries, electrical lorries, being a thing.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, I also learned, like, when I was working at my last job, like, the forklifts that we had were not petroleum based, they were pure electrical.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that they put, depending on what kind of electrical they were using, they could have been using the friction from the fork lifting and up and downing to generate additional electrical supply to the battery to keep it going longer.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's what a lot of the loaders and trucks, the lorries were doing too.
Like, yeah, I mean, my car does that, and they will just generate it up. So the moment I get into certain areas where it's like, oh, you can now only drive 30 miles an hour, but there's congestion, so I just go, okay, switch it to EV. I'm not going to go over like 25 miles, so I'm just going to cruise through that, and then that's like an entire village, not even a village, but like an entire city I can go through. It's technically a village by British standards. It's just a very large, but it's just a very large village.
Yeah.
I can go through that entire place pretty much purely on EV, on just electrical. I don't burn petroleum or anything like that. And once I get out of it, it goes like, oh, your battery's low. I'm like, that's fine. I'm now about to go up a hill, so I need that.
Yeah. And like, there's a really deliciousness to the fact that like there's a lot of people in Australia, even in my state, South Australia, right, who are just like, oh, they're never gonna get me with like EVs and stuff. Like I'm always gonna have a petrol car. It's like, how do you get to work each day? Oh, I take public transport. The train, of course. The electric train that's powered at every station by solar panels on the roofs. You fucking morons.
It's the whole thing of like, my car is going to be this. Yeah, that's fine, but like, you're still participating in the solution.
Yeah.
So please stop and embrace it. You can have your petroleum car, that's fine. Just acknowledge that you're still helping by not causing congestion, by not overusing petroleum. I mean, hell, the thing that's happening with my job, I'm going to go from being in the office from 12 times a month to 6 times a month. I'm elated because, one, I get to stay home, but two, I don't have to use so much petroleum. And there's the benefits, like, again, financially, I'm incentivized not to go into the office because I don't spend money going to work. I don't have to deal with the congestion. I technically only live 20 minutes away from the city where I work, but due to the traffic congestions, that can easily take me an hour to get in
Mm.
because of how other people decide to drive. So me not being on the road means I am hassle free. I am significantly happier.
Mm. Well, this seems like a perfect segue into going something else British.
Well, Clacton-by-Sea are having some very good content. I haven't actually gone into the statistics of like how well he's performing, but I have been like seeing some of the right wing talking heads, and they are shitting on Nigel, like all the way through. They're like it's an absolute clown show, and he is the main attraction.
Okay, so I do know where
The problems are, yeah.
our dear Space Overlord is polling at the moment. He's currently on 30%.
That's pretty fucking good.
And that was on Thursday my time. So it's been a few days since then. Don't know where he currently is, but that was up from 24% at the beginning of the week. He is doing extremely good numbers. But that's not what got me pissing myself laughing and jumping around with all the giggles the other day when I found out that candidate Dalek is running in the Clacton by-election.
I mean, at this point, any vote that doesn't go towards him is just a victory.
Yeah.
That's my perception. Is like if Baneface gets 30% and Captain Dalek gets 16, that's still 46%. That's literally less than half of the entire voting population of the participating voters of Clacton-by-Sea saying, we don't want you. That is terrifyingly bad when no other major political parties are actually trying to fight him. You literally have people who are doing dress up for Halloween, doing competitively better than a dyed in the wool politician with an entire like thousands of pounds, tens of thousands of pounds in advertisements to help them.
Even the freaking furry who's about saving foxes from being hunted is getting at least 2% in polling at the moment.
Yes.
That, if I was Nigel Farage, that would hurt. That would be hurting.
But so the more I learn about like the politics of like Nigel Farage when he was in UKIP and now in Restore, the more I'm just realizing he is a very ego fragile individual. I hope this is hurting him. I think he is going to try to turn around and go like, hey, but I won at the end of the day, and people can literally go 40, like again, assuming that we're having like 46 or 48% not going towards him. These are figures I've just made up. People can still go like 48% did not vote for you and your competitors were clowns. How do you respond to that?
I am sure, even if he does win, I am sure that he will publicly to the news continually brush it off. But that British news media, who are just fucking everywhere, they are going to capture at some point just how pissed off he is that his margin for winning was not as big as he wanted it to be.
He's doing this again, like the entire point of this is a distraction from the fact he's being investigated twice for taking money from foreign influencers. And his entire argument is, I don't want to go through the judicial system. I want to go through the court of public opinion.
Which, I'm sorry, to anyone, that should be a red flag.
Yeah. literally, if you turn around and go like, I will not be judged by the judicial system. I will not be judged by a committee that is reviewing my actions. I will not be held accountable for my actions. Instead, I will put myself to the popularity test of my constituency. That means dick.
Yeah.
And I really want him to lose because then he is not an MP. He won't have the salary from the government, and he then has to work to have an income one way or another, probably as duplicitous as it may be. And he's still being investigated.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for like anyone else but him.
Oh man.
If I was on Twitter, I would actually be. I might even be tagging him, going like, "Hey Nigel, if you lose, I'm just giving this to you as a heads up, and it will be a job application form."
Manure shoveler.
just your sort of general thing. Like, I know this is scary, but you now have to go and actually interview. And heads up, you're competing with AI applicants. I know he likes to go around and say like, "But I've got my own business." I'm like, I'm sure you do. That you've been sucking off the government, income for so his entire professional life. He's been to Brussels as an EP for years upon years upon years. He's been paid to be the UK representative, or like one of the political representatives in the European Parliament. Primarily because the British Parliament just went, "We don't want to deal with him, just send him over there." And then he would have to occasionally come back for his obligatory participation, where he would just stand there, make loud noises in the House of Parliament, not do anything, and then drum up a whole bunch of other things and say things on TV. Oh, and go on leading Britain's conversation, and just be the divisive person that people would call in to talk to. Yeah.
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 On another note, have you heard about what happened the other day in New Zealand?
I have not. Do share.
So the way New Zealand's government works is kind of a terrible shit show. Basically, it's good for minor parties and terrible for the idea of any kind of cohesive government. So the current government is a coalition made up of about 3 or 4 parties, right?
Right.
Two major parties and a minor party. The foreign minister decided to tell, I believe it's the Minister for Health, who is of a Asian variety, and told this individual, heavily implying China, to go back to his own country. In a parliamentary committee hearing, forum that was being recorded and was, live at the time too. And within 30 minutes, the Chinese foreign minister had publicly decried the statements by the
New Zealand foreign minister.
Yes. And he's the foreign minister. He's telling people to go back to their own country. This is not the first time he has said things like this to people who are not this color.
You know what that reminds me of?
Farage.
No, better.
Huh?
The CEO of TikTok was brought before the US Congress,
Mm.
where they were basically going like, what is your passport? I'm Singaporean. Are you associated with the Chinese Communist Party? No, because I'm Singaporean. Have you got any
Oh,
affiliations with the communists, with the CCP? It's like, again, Minister, I'm Singaporean. Where's your home? My home's Singapore. But Senator, like, what what is these questions? Like, I'm Singaporean. I can't be a member of the CCP. I don't know how to spell it out for you. It's like, oh, well, just answer the questions. I'm like, I am, but your questions are literally the same.
yeah,
And it's just like, yeah, I I don't know what to say. I
yeah.
mean, again, if I don't know how it works in New Zealand. I know in the UK, I am as a foreign national, I am limited in what jobs I can apply for within the UK government because
Mhm,
I am not a British citizen
mhm.
or a British national, which is understandable. You don't want foreign entities suddenly populating your government because that might suddenly lead to conflict of interest.
Yes. Like perhaps a former prime minister of Australia.
Didn't know that, but I'm guessing you're going to share a story soon.
Oh well, it's very quick. So you might know this name, Tony Abbott.
Yeah,
He former prime minister of Australia in 2013 to 20 other teen before 2015. I know that much. Can't remember how long he was in for. Got ousted. He's since become politically very in line with that kind of American right wing style. He has done talks with Farage, done associated stuff with him and with the MAGA element in the US. He was our prime minister. He was born in Britain. Unfortunately, due to the way our government works, as long as you're an Australian citizen, that
yeah.
is okay. But do you know what isn't okay?
Go on.
Being a member of parliament and having dual citizenship at the time. When he got ousted, it kind of caused a constitutional crisis because they discovered the exact reason he was being ousted, which originally was a political infighting coup, right?
Yeah.
But when someone realized that he had dual citizenship, they jumped on that to oust him publicly, which seems like a great move
Yeah.
until it revealed how many other parliamentarians, other MPs, had dual citizenships.
Well, get get them out.
Yeah, somewhere between a quarter and a third of the MPs in the upper house and lower house, so the representatives and the Senate, were dual citizens. It
No.
caused a year-long parliamentary crisis. Government had to keep working, but these people were effectively on leave because they couldn't be trusted to do their job constitutionally.
No, exactly. I mean, like the Danish passport, it has been updated, but the old one explicitly stated that if I take another citizenship, Denmark would not renew my passport, they would actually oust me from being a Danish citizen, because it is within their belief that if you are Danish, you will contribute to the Danish society. You will participate in this. You want the benefits. You will stay and pay X amount of taxes to have the right to vote, to have the right for benefits. You have all of these other things, but you have to contribute to Denmark. That was written in the passports that this will happen, and the only exceptions where this will not happen, again, they were basically explaining like if you do not contribute to the taxes of Denmark for X amount of time, you will be removed from citizenship unless that would make you a stateless person. Then European rules would protect you and you would stay Danish until you got another citizenship.
Yeah.
So that used to be the law, and that was changed in like 2017, 2018, where they basically went, right, we now recognize dual citizenship.
As long as you're still paying taxes.
No, so that I think they've kind of moved beyond that. I mean, you don't have much that you can claim if you don't have any contributions to like the British, so to the English like tax system. So that's not really much state pension you can really get. So yeah.
So is that part of the reason why you haven't gotten citizenship anywhere else, or?
Yes and no. Yes, because it is something I actually do believe in. If I got a British citizenship, I wouldn't feel British. I'd still be feeling Danish. Like if you really dig down into it, like that is what I am. It is what I believe in. And the pathway to English citizenship has actually gotten harder since Brexit. Naturalization is no longer a thing here. So usually it would be like pay 5 years of taxes in England, and you have the possibility of like going down the naturalization route. That's been removed. So you now need to go and take a test. Fine. That's also what we do in Denmark. The cost for taking that test, like just paying to have that exam, has gone up and up and up. And the last time I checked, it was like £1,200 just to take that test, not accounting for the time studying for it and the tutors involved, because it's not just history, it's culture, it's mannerism, it's fluidity of speech.
Yeah, keep going. I'm just looking out for something for my.
What's up?
The fee for an adult applying for Australian citizenship is $595 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Which is probably like £170. Due to the British have always screwed us over on the conversion for the pound sterling.
But even then, like, you've also got the difference of like, yeah, I know like the immigration laws are a bit more stricter in Australia about coming in, getting your visas, and having to actually like have a job, blah blah blah. I don't disagree with that. That's fine. That's why like the typical joke is like, hey, I'm gonna go on an extended visit in Australia. I'm gonna spend like a month and a half at these strawberry farms just picking strawberries, because that's like what most of the students end up doing. Allegedly, I don't know, haven't done it. But yeah, like the fact it's like £1,200 to take the exam, and that's not accounting for like all the studying and preparation that you need to do. That's insane, in my opinion. It's cheaper for me to go and take the driving exam. Like that's like £40-50.
I think after conversion, that's roughly the same for getting my license here.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like about $160 to get my license, or to have my driver's license here. So
yeah. So yeah, like it is something I'm having to consider now that other things in my life is becoming a reality. Like I am married, I own a house. The idea is to have a family down the line. There is the
children are
unfortunate
great.
aspect. Yeah, but there is the unfortunate aspect that should either myself or my wife, either if we broke up, if one person passed away, there are some hoops that you have to deal with, especially my side being a foreigner. That is going to make it very difficult. And that's also a form of lenient, like even though we're married and all that, the fact that again I hold a foreign national stance means that like that's going to be scrutinized. I mean, I was scrutinized when I said I want to go and get married because I wasn't British, and it's a requirement that I then go and I have to verify that I'm doing this for genuine reasons and not because I need not that the green card existed back then, but like I wasn't doing it because I was being manipulative or any other setup. Now I didn't like that on principle because I didn't like the fact that for me to be married to someone, that the government's going to try and start questioning my motives. I'm like, that's not. You don't have the right for that, but apparently that is the law here.
Yeah, I would find that a bit offensive too, but
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think I'd behave. Well, I didn't say anything untowards, but I definitely behaved in a way that the person was like, okay, you clearly don't like me. I'm like, that is correct.
like I understand the principle behind it.
Yeah, so do I. I don't like it either.
But if I can very much see that if I was being addressed that way when to me, there's like years of like a relationship with this person, my feelings are genuine, our relationship is genuine, and then this person who doesn't know me is just like, yeah, why are you doing this? And fuck you, cunt.
Yeah. No, exactly. So it would be, I mean, the questions that they sort of went through is like, how did you meet? What have you been doing? Where you're living? What's the status with her family? What does her parents do? Like basically like checking like, do you actually know who you're marrying into? I'm like, right? What if it's in a situation where, let me take my parents for example. My mom and her family have cut ties. I don't know anyone from that side of her family. They are just a black hole. I know that they've existed. I know most of them at this point are dead, usually due to alcoholism. I know I have cousins from her side. I don't know where they are. I don't know their names. I don't know what the situation is. As far as I understand, my mom has just severed all connections to her side and gone. We don't speak about Bruno.
No.
Yeah. I learned the other day that apparently my mother actually has a brother who was taken into the Danish state and was adopted and now lives elsewhere in Denmark.
Wow.
Yeah, like there are things that I've now like out of the blue I have suddenly learned that technically I have a half brother and my mom's mom. No, sorry, she has a stepbrother, which was created because her mom had an affair with an English sailor after like the end of like World War II, because he came by. And when we then began like tracking it down, we found out that he actually lives somewhere in this region. He's passed away now, but like knowing I actually have a distant grandfather who is from this region. No clue. Didn't know that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, my I kind of have a similar thing. Because I didn't know my dad, but my mum, before she passed, she did inform me about a lot of things about him, including the fact that he had had affairs. Well, first of all, my mum and him weren't married because he was already married to someone else. And my mum wasn't his only other affair. So I've got something in the order of like 8 step siblings or 8 half siblings.
Yeah.
And at the very least, his daughter to his wife has a kid. Because I saw her once. It's one of my earliest memories of apparently us going to meet up somewhere, except his family was there too, caused an issue, and we had to leave. But I saw, like, but when asking later about that, realized just found out that and this is where it gets icky, the woman who looked about the same age as my mum was his daughter. And the baby, the young kid that she had was her daughter.
That was a bit icky, yeah.
Yeah. So I have a niece or nephew, I don't know, who's probably about my age.
Yeah. I know, looking in these chats, I can see Merlin saying that, yeah, there's similar stuff with them. But yeah, like that's like, but bringing it back to like me being questioned for marrying my wife, like these are also other situations, like asking about like my grandparents, and like, well, we can only speak about my dad's side because those are the ones we know about. And again, as I've gotten older, I've also learned. Well, I've had my rose tinted perception of my grandparents has, I wouldn't be shallow, but it's been color corrected, as I've started to understand. Like, okay, they did love my dad, and his brother. They were absolutely supportive. I also learned that my grandfather is a gambling addict, and that he has been blacklisted from all banks in Denmark for owing them too much. He's not allowed to own assets, because any assets he owns has to be seized to pay back his debts.
That is a thing.
No, it is a thing. Again, you learn about these things.
Oh man. Man, we kind of blew through our first 2 topics, and now we're just off talking personal shit, huh?
I've got Warhammer stuff.
Ah, well, yeah, you can talk Warhammer stuff if you don't want to keep talking personal.
I've got that in the back burner, if that's needed. No, like I've had 2 sessions. So we didn't have Drek last week. I had a session there, and I've had a session yesterday. The group is basically going through, and they've been doing a lot of politicking, meeting with this like trade federation, and basically going like, okay, this, like, there are 3 major factions. Of those 3 major factions, there are these sub factions that they have to go and talk to, and they've been like doing that to basically sort of like make sure that the head honcho, his supporters are all unified in the same message, because convincing him, he then needs to go and convincing that, and then he might be turned or swayed. So to make sure that their proposition is ironclad, they've been doing everything that they can to like secure that.
Yeah.
So they've talked to the forge makers, and they've basically gone like, hey, right now you've got a very sweet deal under us that will continue, and to prove that we are serious about it, here's a bunch of like alien technology that we've been acquiring. That's yours. So they basically bought his loyalty by demonstrating that they don't LOIQ. Just seeing him. So they've been buying his loyalty by basically demonstrating that they respect his Adeptus Mechanicus sect. And his sect believes that all alien technology derives of human technology. So he just needs to reverse engineer it back into human technology. It's a very convenient belief for many rogue traders. The group then had to like do a full analysis because the Trade Federation they have quite a large navy, but that navy consists primarily of pirates, who has all been pardoned. One of the players keeps on going like, yeah, but if they've been pardoned and truly redeemed themselves, and I'm sitting there going like, that's not what's happened. That's really not what's happened. It like I don't know how else to like outline and say, listen, the pirates are still pirates. They just go pirating against the enemies of the Federation. They don't have a naval structure. And the player kept on going like, well, what do you mean they don't have a structure? I'm like, there isn't any commodores. There are squadron warlords. That squadron warlord then has a marital or political tie to his battle group's overseer, and then that overseer has got political ties or financial debt. Do they go space pirating? Absolutely not. This group do not do any form of piracy. They're 2 steps away from being dogmatic for Warhammer 40,000. They are risk avoidant. If they can avoid taking any form of chance, they will. Yeah, it's something. They're not willing to risk anything.
Jesus.
It brings about certain complications, and it means that like when they interact, they basically go like, well, our standards are up here. Why are you not here? I was like, because you are on the fringes of space where morality doesn't really survive continuity.
Oh, man.
So the players have been learning that, and what they've basically learned is that the current head of the Navy is basically a very successful pirate warlord. And she has basically she's a warmonger. Like, she's really good at leading like big strategies, like gathering up fleets and going out and accomplishing things. She's now stuck behind a desk doing logistical works and not being out there. And that's because the Federation is set up in that like whoever is in charge of this aspect, you need to be a part of like the council. But unfortunately, she has succeeded up to the top, and then the government has basically gone, well, you're at the top, which means you now need to be a part of all the government meetings and discussions and all of these other things. And she's just sitting there going like, sure, whatever. When can I actually participate in proper war efforts? So she wants to break away with that. And one of the players are basically going like, yeah, no, she's a terrible leader. She's not fit for management. We need to get her back out there to go and do things, but we need to be careful because if she runs off and goes to and ends up at our rivals' side, she will be converted really quickly. Like, she has this sort of like taste for violence that their rival will bring in.
The the other rogue trader.
Yeah, there's been some events that's been happening that's been released out where the players are going like, oh, okay, we actually need to take him seriously now. He's not a distant threat that we're going to be undermining. He's done a big play that I'll get into in a little bit. And the players then met with the pirate leader's second in command, who is more like actually logistically minded. He basically does the day-to-day works for her because he's good at it, and he doesn't care about like the whole aspects. So they're like, oh, like we'll have a meeting with him and like suss him out. That character came in, turned the table, and actually interviewed them, and made them give away insights. And he was then playing certain cards, like he named every single player character to the captain. The captain was like, he actually knows all of us because no other NPC that they've encountered has bothered with that. So that caught him by surprise. It's not over the top impossible to do. But it basically goes to show that like he actually knows who the players are. He's aware of their motives. And he also warned the captain, like, listen, I'm loyal to my captain, meaning this conversation will be told to her. So I am going to ask you, how long do you need to have this kept a secret before she will be informed? Like, I will be that respectful at the very least. So they've been given weeks of silence, which is respect. Yeah.
A week
and
is
then
a very long time.
It is. A lot of things can happen in a week.
Mm.
He also told the group's seneschal and spy master, by the way, the dirty secret that you've been keeping from everyone, that cat's out of the bag. Someone has blabbed. I know who you are. Our Secret Service knows who you are. His background is that he stole a huge fortune from the western side of this map. There is an imperial noble house known as the Sixmont.
Mm-hmm.
He is from that house. He's been hiding it this entire time, but he stole a huge fortune from them and disappeared out. And he has one of the core rings that allows him to sign things using his family signature.
Okay.
You can see like this is actually a very big deal, and mechanically there is a thing that all imperial nobles have, which is brook no insult. And when your blood betrays you, that's a huge insult. Now that blood has got ties to a big mercantile conglomerate, and that ties goes into like the navigator houses. The navigators has basically had to like send out an indirect proxy message to this other group, basically going like, hey, you shared intel with us about like the whole setup. We're now sharing intel with you that this guy is one that you need to be aware of because there's a huge bounty on his head on our side.
Oh.
Yes.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, well, that's the play. That player made this background. I am just bringing it. The hens are coming home to roost.
Mm.
So that's all coming out now. There's also been some reports that's been released out that I've sent out. The group has got 3 different spy networks. One's in their home turf. Nothing's happened there. One's in like the entryway space station that comes into this sector. They've gone completely dark. They haven't sent their initial report, and their backup time for sending out a report has not been sent either. The last report that they sent out was, we have arrived at the station. There are a lot of factions here. We're having to tread carefully because we actually don't know where it is safe to operate. That was the last message that they got sent out. and they've now gone completely dark. The third one, it was sent into the Federation's space to do a propaganda campaign to play up the players in the Dynasty's house. Now, they succeeded to the point of where the Federation didn't catch on that the propaganda campaign was happening until it was too late. And it had like embedded into like the middle management and creeping upwards. So they couldn't stop it. Like that's happened. So they responded by basically doing counterintelligence, events.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to find out who did it. Like the spy group is still safe, but they have killed like 3 of their members, and the spies have basically had to like grab the bodies and like burn them and scatter them and like make sure that like there's no evidence of who they were. And they've basically, that spy network has basically said, we're going underground. This is the last message you're going to hear from us for a while. Because the Federation, I mean, it's basically, it is the equivalent of Greenland is now having they're having like an election. Out of nowhere, there is suddenly Facebook pages of Greenland should unite with the United States popping up. It's not subtle. You definitely know who is doing it, but you're like, I can't out anyone. And in this case, it's taken hold enough that it's not like they can directly look at the players and go like, you've been doing some spy network within our borders. Naughty, naughty. But there are also
in a second.
Yeah, sure. No. So let me quickly address the chat. Have I heard of a game that's called Fear and Hunger? No, I have not. It's a brutal, punishing game, probably ever. Let me quickly check out what this might be about. It looks like one of those indie games that appears to have been made way back when. Yeah, I can't say that I've played that. So that's something. And yeah, going back to the space pirating, this group is very risk averse. They don't want to take a risk. They don't want to risk the ire of the Inquisition or anyone that's majorly important. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So the group's spy network has basically done this, but this propaganda thing has actually helped them force the Federation to be in a position where, it's very difficult to fight against them because the points or the propaganda that's been brought out is legitimate. They can't denounce that without calling the players for liars. And the players are kind of playing into the whole thing of like, here's the truth of what we did. It's just been hyped up. So they're not in an awkward position. The Federation's having to make a decision of like where they're going to land. And now the big thing that's going to be coming in for the next session is I'm going to be doing a one-on-one with every single player, where their characters are going to be having one other member of the Federation try and grill them to figure out like, are you going to screw us over? And then they're gonna go through, and if the group as a majority succeeds, they can get the Federation over to be with them. So that's that. But the big move that the rival Rogue Trader has done is they've now made a proxy bid to become the next supporters or controllers of the battle fleet and of the navy of that sector. So the previous navigator has done a maneuver where they're able to step out because their contract tied them to the navy. And the Navy is kind of, and that was all tied into the government. The government of this sector has collapsed because they've been out of the system for 200 years, and the governor and the capital is all gone. So that navigator group has basically gone, right, well, someone has conveniently pointed out that we are tied to the government, and the government isn't here, where I suppose we will just have to step aside because we've just been doing our job for all this time. So that's opened up a vacancy that the rogue trader and their navigator house has conveniently aligned someone else to step in and fill, and then they're supporting them. So they're making a bid to basically control all of the system through military might. And their entire point is that the proxy allies are military navigators. The rogue trader is a military rogue trader and has been beating the shit out of orcs this entire time. And he's now elevating up like 11 million soldiers to become Imperial Guardsmen. And a whole bunch of other things. And the rival rogue traders navigator house has got a lot of deep pockets. So that's like all conglomerating together. And the players have been told like the players can stall this rival rogue trader, but they can't stop him. And they're not going to win on the contest of who is a better military commander. Because they will just lose. They have got no major victories that they can actually hold up. Oh, sorry. They've got like one or two. Only one of them is officially recorded. All their other conflicts has been happening on the fringes where no one has been there to record it. Aside from themselves. And other people that are tarnished as being renegades or pirates.
Yeah.
So the group's counter move is basically going to be, we will unify the fringes, we will make the system work, we will be providing the biggest logistical network to make the system work. We have reconquered a subsector that has never been tamed before. So like some pretty strong counter arguments.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening right now in terms of like the political play. And I've highlighted to the players like once they've gotten this done, there'll be like a few other things, but then we're going towards like the end game period. And that's where they're going to need to make some decisions. From some of the messages I've gotten, I suspect that they are going to be dropping they're going to be like hemming into like being allies with these fringe groups. And they're probably going to try and like destroy any of their rival navigators and rogue traders. Maybe not militarily, but certainly they're going to find political or economical ways of ousting them. So that's where that campaign is. I've got about 4 more months to like wrap it up, and then that'll be it.
I know it's not necessarily something you want to do, but a complete clusterfuck ending for that game would be not only thematically appropriate, but I feel like it just seems like the right thing to do in universe as well.
Well, there are a few endings I can see happening. They are going to be given an olive branch by one of the rogue, the Imperial family of Sixmund, who one of the players is basically hated by them. They're going to be given an olive branch of like, hey, find a way of us either making amends or find a way of like killing off this character in a way that suits this Imperial family, and we will help you have a counter argument that will basically cement your control of this sector. Like rather than having other navigator houses travel in here, literally unify the existing houses and divide the sector into 3 things, into 3 subsectors. The far west is controlled by this group. The center is controlled by you. The east is controlled by this group, and all creates a triangular circle to make sure that there's a control across the entire thing. So that would be one way it can end. It can also end with them saying, "No, we will steamroll you," in which case they may have some opportunities for that, but it will be one of those like you win, but you get like a half the sector is controlled by you, meaning you are a dominating force that controls it, and the other one are at the moment working for you, but they're never really allowing you into like their thing. They're seeming to bide their time to build themselves up, kind of thing. Like you've won peace, but like beneath the surface, the boiling is happening, or they have to go down and just outright execute entire navigator houses, which will not be a good sight.
Yeah, that could cause some problems for the future.
Yeah. There's a number of ways they can go, but it's very much like in the player's ball court. Like we will need to like after this point like hit the point of where like okay, major things are about to go down. You need to make a decision. I know that like in this game, like depending on like how we move with time, but there is going to be a prefectus, a tithe prefectus questor, basically an auditor from the tithe division is going to come in and say, right, I need everyone to submit your performance because now we are actually going to evaluate who owes the Imperium what and resume the tax system. Which means this year's, like this game's in-game year will be like the final thing before the administration is going to go, right, you guys have done enough. We now need to see a return of like 2 years worth of you guys running amok.
You know what you need?
What do I need?
You need to have them have their own brand of Space Marines, but like they're more an offshoot of the Custodies rather than the Space Marines.
Right.
And so they're taxation Space Marines.
Question.
Yes.
Have you actually seen the Warhammer Plus short where a Custodes shows up to a Space Marine homeworld?
No.
Okay. What you have described is a canon event that Games Workshop has already kind of rolled out from the Custodes, like the proper Custodes. Effectively, with the pushing of female Custodes, one of them has shown up and basically went straight over to like a chapter master and gone, "Hi, you need to break every single oath that ties you to this homeworld, to this entire sector, and you now need to orbitally bombard them with Exterminator's grade weaponry. Because our current defense and the order of the God Emperor, whose voice I speak with, is that we're creating a shield around Terra of dead planets to make the what's it called? The Tyranids basically go around Terra and the core worlds. And you, as a chapter, are now being tithed to come back in and to do the God Emperor's work because I carry his words with me." That is a genuine canonical event that Warhammer Plus has released out. How does that make you feel, Seraphis? Do I need to go and get some soap and clean my mouth?
I feel scared and confused.
Yeah.
Like accidentally finding out you just did it with a ladyboy.
What your suggestion, your joke suggestion is actually canonically true.
Yes. You hushed my buzz, man.
I've got another play on like my Sundays. He will sit and he'll be like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if X, Y, and Z happened?" And I would literally sit there and go, "Well, it has." Um, and he just sits there and go like, "What do you mean?" And I then have to explain like either in role playing games or like other things like, "No, what you joked about actually happened in these events here." And then he's just gonna sit there and go like, "Why can't I just make a joke?"
That. Okay, so I have to know now, did they exterminatus the world?
I didn't finish watching it.
Fair.
I seem to recall that I remember that the chapter master was basically going, "I can't break my oaths. My oaths are what has defined my chapter. This world has supplied us with everything. How can I turn my back onto the people and the servants of the Imperium? How can you say such a thing?" To which the Custodius basically goes, It's not for you to question. You have to do the will of the God Emperor. You can try and quickly boot it up and like like rewatch it.
No, that's all right. See, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of confusing. On one hand, you can say, yeah, speaks for the God Emperor. It is a Custodes, after all.
Yeah.
It is the Emperor's personal army. But on the other hand, pretty much outside of the Custodes, and potentially, the majority of the Emperor's sons, everyone else sees the God Emperor, religiously,
Yeah.
when the man was a staunch atheist. His whole thing was no
Yeah.
gods, just a man. A
Mhm.
great man, but just a man. Don't worship. That's bad.
So I've just reopened the thing and rewatched it, and the chapter master caves in.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Was there any particular chapter that we know, or?
Let me go back so I can like get their full armor. It's really freaking. See if I can put subtitles on. No, I don't have any. Sorry, I'm just trying to find like a still where we can like look through the. Here we go. Sorry, it's taking me a little bit. So it is the White Templars. Trying to look them up now. Oh yeah. There you go.
Unknowns. That's pretty interesting. Although,
well, like, go on.
They have Primaris Marines?
Well, a huge thing that happened in recent law is that with Cole returning, they basically spewed out like legions worth of Primaris Marines.
Hmm.
And they went around to the many different chapters and basically went, hey, here's some Primaris. Integrate them into your chapters to become strengthened. So Gilliman basically went around and basically went, forcefully inject this into all of your chapters and renew your strength, because the Primaris Marines are basically meant to be a step up. And the actual Space Marines, over the many generations of recycling the gene seeds, they are meant to be degrading. Now, I didn't know this, but apparently that's a thing, that you can only recycle the gene seed so many times until it becomes unusable.
Well, on one hand, that might explain why Space Marines have gotten progressively weaker and weaker over the various editions.
I think that is like the canonical explanation, and then the Primaris are meant to be the cash influx, but then also the explanation of like why they're now powerful again. But yeah. I'm just looking over like the Warhammer TV that came out. Like the shows are just abysmal.
Yeah.
Like there's like 2, maybe 3 shorts that are worth watching. Like you've got the Pariah Nexus, which is with the salamanders, or a salamander space marine being on a planet that's being invaded by the Necrons, or the Necrons are waking up. It's actually a really good one. You've got what's it called? Sisters of Battle being there. You've got salamanders. You've got a necrotech, who is basically like mocking the humans. You've got the Angels of Death, which is following the Blood Angels as they're fighting the Tyranids and needing to like prepare and like return to Baal. And then there is Iron Within, which is a short movie of Dark Eldars attacking a hive city, and the Iron Warriors showing up and being like, no, this is our world. We will rule it. I like it because they show the Dark Elder being what they're meant to be. Terrifying. And the Iron Warriors are shown how they're meant to be. Brutal.
Yeah, I was thinking, a Traitor Legion.
Yeah, Iron Warriors are traitors. They show up and they claim the planet, which means that that planet is about to go in for a very rough time.
That planet was just not having a good day.
No. And bearing in mind, again, it's a hive planet. That means that the Dark Elder has been raiding them for weeks, because they will have so much playtime with the hive planet.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Yep. For those of you who are unaware, Dark Elder or Drukhari are just drow in space. It is not going to be a good time.
Although with more scorpion motifs rather than spider, I think.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Anyway, so for my next session, as I said, I'm going to have a one-on-one with all the players. Like, they're all going to be there, but I'm going to pick like one person at the time. We go down. They speak with one other character from the Federation. And what I'm doing is, or at least what the way I've explained it to the players, is we are going to assume that the group has now had weeks worth of political conversations back and forth about their coming treaty. So I have made a document where I'm going to show them which character is going to be talking with which NPC and what three major questions will be asked to them. Just so that the players can sit and go like, right, I would need to prepare like my aspect of the dynasty and my involvement of this treaty so that I can convince them. And then I will sit on the other hand and I'm going to go through the motives of said character and basically grill to make sure that the players are consistent in their answers.
That seems like you're going to have a lot of fun.
I am. I mean, I finished this, and I think there are some good questions in there. I mean, I can share it if you'd like to see.
It's up to you. Yeah.
Fair enough. Since you permitted, I will. Now, I can zoom a bit out to make it. So, like the first one here being the tech priest, basically being, as I said, they believe that all alien technology is just human technology. So, is the players actually willing to protect them if the other Mechanicus finds out about them? That's like the first big one. It's like, are you actually going to stand by what you say? Then they've written a treaty to me that I then go through every single person. There's at least one question about the treaty that they need to answer, and that this basically boils down to there is a part of the treaty called territorial discovery and enclave rules. The way it's worded implies that the dynasty can go in and overrule existing leadership. And for the Mechanicus point of view, they are very much like, no, we rule it. You don't get a say in this. As you can imagine. And then the third question is always an open question for the players to basically like, here's the question to you. You need to figure out what the deeper meaning behind that is. Questions so far, Seraphis?
Oh, I'm just thinking, like, in universe, how would I answer that third one?
Yeah. Because I just need to remind you, this group is very humanitarian in how they go about, like, hey, we want to be progressive, we want to do all of these things. But I've gone through their treaty. And there are several times where they go, hey, if other Imperial forces say, like, we can't do this, then we need to do this. So the Forge Master is basically going like, but if I do is deemed illegal, but it helps, what is it?
See, here's the thing. Unless they are the rogue trader with the Imperial seal saying that they have the authority of, in this case, Gilliman,
Yeah.
I would say that anyone else would fall under violating imperial prohibition, which means that's a no-no. It doesn't matter if it saves imperial lives. The rogue trader is the one person who gets to say, no, I can do that if I want to.
Yeah. So the current treaty, I'll see if I can't switch around this. I'll see if I can do it a different way. Like I have the full treaty. Let's not actually go through it, because that would be too long. Effectively, the warrant was given to them by Gilliman, and a part of the treaty is that they say our warrant and the protection that our warrant gives us will extend out to you. Because the group will then become the legal face, and they will become the patron, the owner. This federation will become the vassal to the players. So the players do hold the ability of saying, as per the warrant of trade and as per the treaty of Hyperbius and the Gonzales, we have approved of this.
That doesn't pass the pub test.
Cool.
In universe with the Imperium, that would not pass the pub test.
That's fine.
Oh,
yeah, but like I said, like this is where like I've got one like mechanical thing that the character needs to do, one thing about the terms, and then one open ended.
Again, I am talking purely from if I was a rogue trader being in this.
Yep.
Like, I'd be coming in there and being like, the fuck are you doing spreading your power around? That's our power. You can't just give it to other people. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to push this button and exterminate everyone on this fucking planet.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. But like these are the sort of questions I'm preparing for the players to then sit there. Like I'm going to send it to them today. They've got all of this coming week to prepare their answers.
Oh man, I really want to be a rogue trader in your game now, just so I can be player 3 and just third player rogue trader and just be like, the fuck is going? Oh, guns, that ship, and that ship.
One of the players actually suggested to arrange a military coup to overthrow this federation and just take control that way.
Oh, I'm not opposed to that.
I need to reword this one here. Because basically it's like, the navigators are like, hey, are we becoming partners or are we becoming subservient? I just need to reword that, because a part of the treaty is that the navigator house has to surrender or share all of their what's it called, warp routes.
Right. Yeah, that.
Now, this is the navigator house who's been tarnished as pirates, renegades. Like, they are dedicated within the imperial archives of the Navis Nobilis as a renegade house, which means they don't get a lot of protection from the Imperium. If someone goes, right, we have a problem with this house, the navigator conclaves can very easily go, okay, well, we'll just checkmark that it's okay to wage war, open war against that house. And that's because the rival rogue trader the navigator that they're getting out of the system, they have been doing this. They've been sabotaging them for like hundreds of years and tarnishing this group. And there's again the whole thing of like, because House of Farum is technically marked as being a criminal house, what are they going to do to actually defend them? Because they, it's not just now, but it's like down the line. If their history is being brought up, or what are they going to do to like ensure that like their name is being secured? And then they ended with like, are you in order to ensure that like your investment is something that we can see as being concrete, can you arrange for a marriage between either your house or an aligned house of your house to ensure that like you don't start mutilating us? Are these provoking you to think, Seraphis?
Yes.
Good, then they're doing their job.
I take this as trying to think of these in universe, right?
Yes.
And I'm taking it from the point of I am a rogue trader captain.
Yep.
I'm the one with the mark. How would I respond to this? Part of me is like, no, you are a tool for my use. You are protected as long as you're useful, and you are discarded as soon as you are not. But on the other hand, there's a devilish side to the idea of effectively owning a navigator house.
Yep. Now, I do need to explain that like this navigator house does come with sub-navigator houses that will all come with them. And they're tightly integrated into like this pirate navy. Meaning, if you get them, you get the navigators of the pirate navy.
And do these pirates happen to know the best ways in and out of areas?
Oh yeah.
Do they have value?
They know that subsector very well, and they've been conglomerated into a syndicate to basically be like the powerhouse that is the Federation, that allows them to like, we need to go and attack them, cut them off their supplies, use wolf pack tactics to separate out the enemy's fleet, tear them apart, and then allow the one of the other characters that's coming in, the Tsar soldiers, to come in with their millions, if not billions, of high-grade PDF soldiers to overtake a planet.
Sax?
Yeah?
You had me at Wolfpack Tactics.
I thought so. So these guys are very much... They don't have a lot of cruisers or light cruisers in their repertoire, but there's a shit ton of frigates, escorts, raiders, quick-moving things like darts in and out, and best of all, many of these things are also coming equipped with equipment that allows them to exit the warp quietly. A smaller tear in reality that isn't as noticeable on the Vox, and warp engines that allows them to flow through the warp, meaning when the navigators are sitting and doing their check into the warp to see if there are disturbances, they are harder to detect. And then there are upgrades, there's like a good quantity of these ships that have, where like when they go quiet, they can still scan your ship without you knowing. Because normally when you scan, it's like a a submarine doing its sonar ping. I see the wheels are turning, so I'm at least glad that I'm asking questions here that would make you go, interesting.
I want them.
Yeah.
Give them to me.
Good.
I will protect this house because I want those pirates.
Yeah. The next is the military aspects. So the Tsar Soldat Krasnov Larionovich basically boils down to like, when the enemy comes, who's in charge, the Federation or the Dynasty? I mean, it's got to be quite obvious. But I'm trying to like highlight to the group that the group has historically always said, we will not adhere to any of your commanders. We will be our own thing. Within the treaty, they say, hey, we will, when available, we will commit forces to protect the Federation. And his immediate question is going to be, okay, well, what are they? What are you actually going to do? What is the material investments that you guys are going to submit in? And the last one is basically down to like, because they're within, again, the treaty, there is the whole thing of like, you're allowed to home rule, you're allowed to self-govern. His question boils down to, well, what if one of my commanders believes that they're doing the best thing in the tenets of home governance, and you disagree with them? How do you allow our authority to be exercised versus yours? I will need to be a bit transparent here, Seraphis. The player that these questions are aimed towards, that player tends to phase out and forget what's happening. So if they seem a bit softball, it's because I'm trying to account for the fact that this player, like last session, yesterday, he heard the word pirate. When we have been talking about only the Navy of the Federation, we're constantly referring to like, they are a pirate navy. They are of the Federation Pirate Navy. He kept on hearing only the word pirate and went, I want to find out where the pirates are so we can defeat them.
You hurt me sometimes with these things, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be mindful of like who my players are as well.
Fair, but goddamn.
Savior is basically, he's the mix of like the missionary, but he's gone more down the route of like a sinologist or like scientist. And he's going to be talking to technically a navigator, but a navigator that basically wants to broaden education within the Federation. And one of the things he basically goes for is like, hey, let's not limit ourselves to being afraid of the aliens. Let's study them. Let's dissect them. Let's study their architecture, their ruins. Let's just extract out as much information and culture and the likes that we can. But that typically means that you then go up against imperial, like, authorities, like the more dogmatic ones.
Yes. Which is ironic considering that, the Emperor's whole thing was trying to take what the Xenos had and trying to make Earth versions of it.
Yeah. Well, that's in an indirect way what these guys are trying to do. They're trying to like go on.
I can appreciate that one then.
Yeah. So basically the whole thing of like, well, when the authorities call everything we've learned from them to be corruption, will you distinguish knowledge from contamination? So again, the group has been involved in events where things called cold stones, which are basically stones that's got a direct connection to the warp, they've been used to basically find ways of like drawing out energies of the warp into a warp conduit, and then that warp conduit translates that into actual power for a plasma engine that can then power entire areas. Is it dangerous? Yes, because you're relying upon warp powers, but it's at an infinite and scalable source, effectively. Is it dangerous? Absolutely. Is the players afraid of it? Yes. Is it legitimate? Yes. Does it mean that there's actually progress in terms of like, are we able to learn from this? Yes.
Because if they could research that technology, research that methodology, and eventually get it to a point where it is safe enough that they can, on a more wide scale, steal the power of the warp for their own use with close to no presence of the chaos gods coming through. That is just the ultimate FU to the chaos gods.
Yeah.
And I think something Big G would probably approve of too.
Yeah, no, definitely. Of course, then there's like the whole thing of like, are you actually going to be, are you going to represent us? Are you going to protect and actually champion the fact, like, are you going to give us the credit that we're due? Because they've got sites, and a part of the treaty is they have to hand over all of the sites and locations that they've got of alien artifacts, ruins, so on, because a big part, like basically the players, the moment that aliens show up and have got any form of like ruins or sightings, the players go, don't touch it, hand it to the Inquisition. So the group, this person is basically like, hey, you say that we need to hand all of this over. Are you aware that this actually means that like that is going to stop a huge amount of our research? And will you be giving us the credit of like the good that we acquire through this?
Yes and no. You'll be credited because you will be officially put under my house.
True.
If it works. If it doesn't work, well, that's why we have orbital bombardment cannons.
No, exactly. But then an open-ended question to the player who is the scientist of like, well, where do you see science heading? Like, what are the branches of interest? What are the topics that needs to be investigated? Because this player then goes into he's actually been having like long tangents of like, we need to go into like gene delving, gene splicing, finding ways of like optimizing and analyzing ecologies to find the highest way that we can have an agri-world pump out food, ways for us to then ensure that we can turn toxic environments into breathable spaces, how we can extract things, study aliens, study their biology, find countermeasures, find ways for us to not have to rely upon psychers to do warp detections. What frequencies can we look into? That sort of thing is what this player's been working on.
Interesting.
Yeah. And now with
more of your worldviews, may I subscribe to your newsletter?
But like this is like an open-ended thing of like that player has got a lot of great ideas, like, but what is his priority? Because he's now going to have the resources of a multiple system-wide research facilities. Where is it all like being? What's the main drive towards it? The Seneschal has to deal with the fact that there is counterintelligence departments of the Federation, and those counterintelligence divisions, they're privatized.
Of course they are.
Of course they are. Now they want to stay privatized, so the first one is like, are we going to stay legitimate, and will we be able to continue working as we are under your protection.
No. Sorry.
Cool. U.S. initial has got, because a part of this is like, you got to share all of your intelligence. And they're basically like, hey, how do we know that you aren't just going to nationalize us?
Well, I mean, you don't have to nationalize. That's fine. I'll just aim my cannons your way, and if you get hit by them while I'm conducting a drill, that's on you.
Oh, lovely.
Sorry, I'm a little bit violent. I realize that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But then again, like, you're able to do that as a rogue trader. Yeah. And of course, lastly, if they suddenly find something that you don't want, that something your authorities would rather remain hidden, are you going to protect the people who find out? Like, are you going to shoot the messengers for poking and prodding?
Well, last time I checked, there was an imperial citizen with a mark that was from the God Emperor. So yes, I believe the standard practice is to shoot the messenger.
Fair enough. I'm just quickly refinding this one question here to see if I missed something. Savior Ericsson, here we go. Yeah, so this is meant to be like a character test to basically see, like, because intelligence and knowledge can make and break people who are on the top. Are you going to be working with the people who may then suddenly uncover things that you didn't want, or are you going to are you only wanting this to be done by controls that you oversee? And then lastly is Adrian, who is the actual rogue trader. He's going to be talking to the merchant lord, and the merchant lord is basically, he's involved in like everything. Like, he ensures that the pirates are paid. He ensures the forges are given their dues. He ensures that the Opharims and the navigators are treated with the nobility that they are obligated. And he ensures that all the balances and all of that is being brought about. And he's a meat.
So he's Prince Ferdinand then.
Oh, I can't remember who Prince Ferdinand is.
Was it Prince? World War One.
Oh, the Duke.
Oh, Duke Ferdinand. Yeah.
Yeah, the one who got shot. Yes.
Yeah. So he's basically Duke Ferdinand. If something happens to him, this entire thing is going to collapse.
It will certainly have a problem, but that's why you've got, like, the entire setup is like with three. So 2 other people is going to reign until they get the guilds to elect in the next person who is going to continue that position. So it's not as simple as like shoot one, everything collapses. But the players had specifically, the Explorator did a logic roll, and they found that the economy outperforms the rogue traders. Like, one of their systems generate as much money as the entire dynasty together.
Their dynasty is doing terribly then.
Well, the dynasty's got 3, what's it called, colonies. And yeah, so the Federation is outperforming them economically. But they have found that they've hit a plateau. They can't grow right now. They're not regressing, but they're not growing. And they've been able to identify how easy it is to put pressure on their economics that will lead to one system collapsing, how that system is going to have a domino effect for the next one, and create a regression and a spiral depression for the entire Federation if they needed to. You look like you're happy with these news.
I'm not against that, no.
But it's a different way of doing warfare.
Yeah.
So basically, his big question is like, why should I sign up for something when technically I outperform you in every metric that you can think of? Like, give me a genuine reason. And the players have actually got like hard data of going like, well, because we actually know that you will collapse should pressure be done to certain points of you. We know how to solve it, but we won't tell you how to solve it without you becoming our protectorate.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And the next one is basically again calling upon like, listen, what happens if we're being deemed to not be imperially aligned enough? According to the contract that you are setting out, you say that you will be our patron. You say that you will be the one representing us and defending us. Well, what are these words? If the Imperium questions it, like, what are you actually going to do about it? Are you going to defend us? How will you mitigate it? How will you make sure that we can become imperially aligned without us being forcefully handed by the administrator? Like, they have a culture, they have an entire setup. They don't want to start feeling like they don't want someone to come in and just like overnight you have to change this. They want someone to help them, like, you need to do this because X, Y, and Z. We need to work on a transition base. They want to be involved. They want to have a voice.
See, again, taking this from my own perspective,
Yeah.
if you're serving my needs and you're doing what I say, you are already imperially aligned.
Yeah.
So the point is invalid unless you're not doing what I told you to. In which case, my guns are first.
Before the administratum gets their pound of flesh, I will take mine.
Yes.
That's fair. And then the last one is because there is a big one of like, this will continue on in perpetuity. Well, the Lord Merchant is going to be saying a man's word dies with the man. And what's going to protect us when you are dead?
Well, that is not true of how many, at least, rogue trader houses work. Oaths are kept through generations.
Mm-hmm. If I may just explain why this question is a thing. This federation is established at the frontier. So a lot of this, of what they've had to deal with, is the fact that the moment someone passes away, all the obligations for the son or so on is released out, and they step in and they're like, well, we now need to go through the whole, like, I am now king, all my barons and knights now need to come and swear fealty to me.
Oh yeah, no, I fully understand that.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
so they come from the mentality of like a man's word only lasts until his last breath is drawn.
Yeah, see, again, my response would be something along the lines of when Boba Fett keyed onto his keypad of his wrist and showed his entire bloodline and being like, yeah, no, these are my oaths. And these are my promises from my predecessor's 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 predecessor. They are kept until they are violated, in which case, guns.
What have I done? Ah, there we go. I was trying to do a correction here for that. Run this, that one here. Basically, what this house here, Opharim, has done, because they've gone to other navigator houses and gone, hi, you can join us and hyphenate your last name with our name and become a sub branch of our house, or you can get out, or you will be put out of the way. Like, that's how they've forcefully conglomerated and like eaten up all the smaller navigator houses that was around them when the Federation was growing up.
And I'm guessing Akem is the...
That's the players.
Okay. Which one is the navigator house that...
Pirates?
Yeah.
Opharim.
Oh, okay.
So they have got like so Opharim by itself is like the head house. There are sub houses who then go into like different things, but they all answer up to like the Opharim. So they've got a huge sub house of pirates that falls under them. It's a sub branch that was brought in, but they are answerable up, and that sub house is dependent on the Opharim, because the Opharim has basically made them dependent on them by being the only one that provides them with the medical supplies that a navigator house needs.
Well, you see, in that case, I would laugh insistently at them, thinking that my name would be hyphenated for them rather than them having to add my house name to them.
Well, sorry, so the way I've outlined it here, Opharim Achem means that Opharim becomes subservient to Achem.
Oh, in that case, yes, exactly that.
So if it was the other way around, then you become subservient to them.
Oh, no, they would definitely become subservient. But it would carry the addition of, you're now protected by my house. What more could you want?
Well, see, historically speaking, that's been their argument for all the other houses. But now it's coming towards them. They're like, we'd like to keep our name. It's a twist of irony, which I'm sure you will enjoy forcing upon them.
Oh, yes, I absolutely would. And, just for shits and giggles, put a little... oh, hell, no, don't even put a little incentive into their drinks while discussing this. Imply a little incentive into their drinks. Because it's a lot harder to find something that isn't there.
Yeah. I take it you've enjoyed that.
Yes.
Welcome to my games.
Yeah. I obviously have varying different responses than what your players would have.
Yeah. But that's the fun part about this, is that you can have this same engagement, and different groups are going to have different interactions. I had one of my players go through the full treaty terms, and he was basically going highlight, and he found all of the loopholes where he was like, I would exploit this, I would exploit that, I would do this, I would do that, I would word it this way so that I can use this to circle back up to this other clause to do this. Like, I have found loopholes in these terms where the players say, we respect you as Opharim have control of the core jobs. Further down it says, no, listen here. You have to maintain the core jobs and all these things. Further down it says, if there's found to be a failing in performance, we can supersede and impose our desired navigator houses to ensure quality is met. Which means if they are responsible for the core aspects, that is their responsibility, and they are found to be lacking in performance, they can be taken out. Okay. And there's so many. Again, the players who have written this have actually written it with the intent of like creating loopholes for themselves, and I enjoy it. Now, I found a lot of them. I have rolled terrible for some of the NPCs getting through them, but they've also come across some of them, as you can see in here.
I very much look forward to hearing what the other side of this is going to be like.
That's next week. Next week on Drek.
That's going to be so much fun.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's time to be wrapping up because it's fucking late.
Yes. Apparently it has been 2 hours, so yeah, we haven't done too bad when it's just been us.
I can contribute.
Yes. Oh dear. All right. Any final thoughts?
If everyone can, try to become energy independent.
Yes.
The sun is there and it's free. You just need to get the equipment, unless you live in England.
Well, normally my response to that would be, does the sun come out in England for more than 1 week a year? But apparently you guys are having a heat wave right now, so
we've been having multiple heat waves, but the thing is, like, it's not enough to justify it. It's only been like 2 months at this point.
Whereas we are, technically just past the middle of our winter. We're actually approaching the end of our winter, and this is the second non-consecutive week where we have had rain.
Yeah.
The whole last 2.5 weeks has been cold, but barely any clouds. It's only since
that's what you need.
Yeah. And this is pretty fucking standard. So yeah, energy independence, people. If you can make it work, and if you're in a country that actually has good, abilities to do this, absolutely do it. If it's some kind of capitalist system, however, where you don't own what you're buying, and it's going to make no difference at all because apparently you live in an absolutely degraded capitalistic corporate society, and you don't even have workers' rights or minimum wage laws, and yet your leader is tariffing other countries because of modern slavery, and yet your country basically distributed the idea of the gig economy. Well, in that case, I can understand why you don't want to add solar. But any other country, absolutely. And that's been my rant.
A last thing I can add in.
Uh-huh.
I have finished because the players send out mercenaries to the front with the orcs.
Oh, yep.
They will be told that the orc warlord on that front has a battle cruiser, one of the legendarily big ships of imperial design, meaning the players can find and capture it if they defeat him. And he is commanding it, named Damek-Wrecker. But the group is also going to be learning that that orc splintered away from the other orc and has been amassing a Gasgul-size orc warg that is so big he physically can't get them all through the warp jumps, and he has to throw them through a bunch at the time. But what the players don't know is that he has been building a gigantic floating fortress that when it gets into the warp area, it will open a warp rift big enough to get the entire army through. And that is his winning move. The players are aware that there is this moving megastructure somewhere out in the deep space of this subsector.
Question.
Go on. They don't know the full content of this, but that's on the horizon for the players.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Because just going by orcs and big giant thing that will rip a hole so that things can follow it. Isn't that potentially dangerous? That could potentially create a miniature Eye of Chaos, Eye of Terror.
Serapis, these are technological questions that nothing but the purest slab of green paint can solve.
Fuck, I knew you were going to say something like that. Oh, no.
Can it happen? Potentially. Will it happen? That's down to the dice to decide.
Never in my life would I thought I would ever be thinking or saying, oh my god, I hope the Necrons do something to stop that.
I mean, when that happens, the Necrons are going to wake up one way or the other, and they're going to go, the fuck are you doing? And they're going to go over there, and then you're going to see Orc, which, by the way, let me quickly open it up here. They are estimated to be in the tens of millions for the Orcs, so not a small size. So if this rip happens, that will activate the Necrons, who are just going to go whoop, 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 beat the Orcs, and the Orcs are going to go, Skelly boys, Skeletor, come here. And the Necron warlord is literally going to come down there screaming that, what are you inebriated fungi, backwater hillbillies doing on my lawn? Get off. Get off. Spray disinfectants at them.
Oh, there's going to be so many gas cannons.
In a weird, wonderful way, I kind of want it to happen because the Orcs are going to go, water fights. Bring in the boys.
Oh.
Even better, if the players actually show up there, the Necrons got to contact them and go, meatbags, I need to understand. The Orcs have lungs, yeah? Then why do they not die when they board our ships? That was, by the way, that is an actual quote from Tracing the Infinite when Orcs boarded his ship. They basically his servant was like, the Orc fungi, the fungi invaders have got lungs, and the ship is depressurized. And Tracy basically goes, you still need to send soldiers up there.
I imagine that this is going to look something like the Dawn of War 4 trailer that released for the Necrons. And it's just piles and piles of Necrons just waking up and just being like, although more being like, we're shooting them. They're like us. They won't stay dead. What? And personally, the funnier thing would be, the Overlord being like, contacting a meatbag, and on the video call, you're actively seeing an orc behind him trying to whack at his Necron body that's just basically impervious to his stabby stick. It's like, what do you do with these things? Meatbag.
Yeah, no, that would be funny because you're gonna have his mech boy literally going, "Why am I being the pain git? Why do we need to cut him open?" And it's like, bring it. Like, he gets out like the big, like, circular saw going, "Zzz, I don't see no logs in here." And they're like, have you poked around? I can't poke. It's metal.
It's the same as my pokey stick. I don't understand it. How is it alive? This thing is getting annoying.
I have done scientific research, and you just see like a piece of paper that goes, hit, dies, question mark? Lava, burn. No. More tests needed. I kind of want that to be the canon ending now.
Just ending on a Met Boys sheets of research papers. Fire, no. Stabby stick, no. Bone saw, no. Lava,
Yeah. He literally just like the emoji of like,
tank buster. Ran out.
better. Tank buster. Missed target. Hole in wall.
Hole in wall depressurize. No good for either of. Not work for either side.
I see Game Masters has showed up, and you know
Yes.
what? All of his hills, they're quite good. I don't disagree. Necrons are Terminators, I'll die on that hill. Tyranids are aliens, I'll die on that hill too. Krooks are the Predator, I'll die on that hill as well. I'm not disagreeing, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I've been taking up a lot of your time. I see you've ended. No, the stream's still going. God
Yes.
damn.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you got distracted because you said one last thing and then
Yeah.
rolled in.
Well, that was the one last thing. And I'm glad I gave you a laugh.
Well, it was fun. All right, and we will probably be doing this again next week. We're almost
Yes.
at 100 episodes.
Oh, dear Lord, yeah.
Yep. Next week will be episode 98. So, yep. So yeah. I don't know. Boobies?
Cunt.
Yeah. Cunt. Cunt's always a good one. Penis as well. But cunt's better. What's that other one? Cloaca? Cloaca? Cloaca.